Welcome to the Maven Spotlight. This is Monica Primo. I am the host of Mavens with Moxie and founder of Encore Life Coaching. And today our guest is Kyra Faison-Gardner. And Kyra is a purposeful living alchemist doing her heart and soul work as an intuitive mentor, certified retirement coach, and sacred space holder for successful professionals crossing midlife life thresholds. A little more about Kyra. After navigating her own personal and professional evolution, she gained unique skills that she uses to help guide successful, deep thinkers to bridge the gap between where they are and where they're called to be. She's a spiritual feminist specializing in creating spaces that invite women to re-enchant their lives and embrace the soul-aligned resets that invite fuller life experiences. So, Kyra, welcome to the spotlight, and we are so excited to have you here.
Hello, Monica. Thank you so much. That was a beautiful introduction. Kind of, I feel a lot of pressure now. That sounded pretty good.
It is,
Now I have to live up to that.
yeah,
Um,
and it is pretty good because you've had, a life of experiences that you're bringing to the table now and that you have to share with the world. So, what I'd really like to talk about today, Kyra, is the shift and the pivot that you experienced in life that led you to go somewhere. And I know you're not in your encore yet; you're preparing for that future. But kind of set the stage for us and tell us what brought you to this pivot in your life.
sure. So I feel like I'm kind of on the on-ramp to to my encore. I started early with it, and it what kind of shifted for me, the big shift that had me change directions was in 2009. My husband and I woke up. Our bedroom was dark, and we could hear this kind of beeping sound, very faint, very faint. We could not make it out what it was. We were very confused. The room was totally dark. And as my husband made his way to the door and opened it, we had a night light in the hallway, and we could see that the hall was full of smoke. The entire hall was just full of smoke, and the light was glowing orange um, because of the amount of smoke, and it was a house fire.
Oh my.
Um, we were able to make it out of the house, my husband, myself, and our three children, but we lost and I'm sorry for not giving a warning for anybody, but we lost our family pets, and it was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking. It was life altering. Um, I went into, I guess it was 10 years, almost 10 years, unbelievable,
Wow.
a fog, just a complete fog, not really feeling anything, no joy. I was going about my day. I was doing all the things. Life looked like we were better, like things were better, but I was not better. And it wasn't until around the birth of our granddaughter that things started to turn around for me. And it was really a beautiful experience. My daughter asked me to be there in the birthing suite with her and her husband. It was an incredible, it makes me teary just to think about it. But we have a amazing relationship. I was there when my granddaughter was born, and I had this really spiritual experience where the minute this baby was born, I it was like in that moment when I heard her cry, I was me, but I was my grandmother. I was my mother. I was that baby. It was this just, I wish I had the words to really explain what it was like, but it was that life altering for me. That was the first time since before the fire that I actually felt this, just had these beautiful emotions well up in me. And that kind of snapped me out of it.
Mm.
I sought counseling. I worked with a therapist for quite some time. I worked with a life coach. Because of those two experiences, I was able to develop my own practices for deep self-care. Those are the things that really got me back on track. Um, and I would say that as I really re-engaged with life again, I recognized that I did not want to go back to the life that I had had. You really can't go
Mm.
back to things exactly as they once were. As time changes, we can romanticize that idea, but you really can't do that. But
Mm.
when I looked at my life, even though we had some great things going on, business was going good, our kids were in great health, making their way through school. I was a different person. And the things that used to be satisfying to me weren't anymore. So I think that was the chain of events, if you will, that led me to reevaluate what I was doing.
So then when you were reevaluated that, Kyra, what realization did you have? What came to mind?
I wasn't doing my heart's longing work.
Mm.
I I was taking care of everyone else really well. I'm pretty good at that. I think most of us are
Mm.
pretty good at that. And I had fallen into this kind of groove of that being my life. Every now and then I would pop my head out and do something fun for myself, but it wasn't really a satisfying life for me. We own a family business. I'm the CEO of a commercial interior company. My husband's my business partner. We have children in the business with us. It was a successful business. We've been in business together over 20 years. That was not ever something that I grew up wanting to do or felt called to do, but I was good at that as well. So I stuck with it. Um, it just did not feel like that was my way forward. And it was difficult. It was difficult to tell my husband that I did not want to, I wasn't going to leave the business, but I wanted to do something that felt satisfying for me. So what that meant was having to be honest with him, having to risk disappointing him and other family members, and pursuing the thing that was calling me. So that's what I did. I am still the CEO of our family business, but I also now am, the founder of a company that allows me to do the work that's meaningful to me. That's mentoring, that's coaching, that's women's sacred circles, that's transformational life retreats for, women later in life, successful career women that are looking to also make changes in their lives. Some are career changes, some are relationships, or just evolution.
Mhm. So how did it feel to have that difficult conversation with your husband, your business partner, with your family?
We are very fortunate to have open communication. We welcome it from each other, even when it's not comfortable. And my husband and I, this is going to be our 36th wedding anniversary next month.
Congrats.
Thank you, thank you. Um, but I will admit I was nervous. I was nervous because we were both used to the roles. We were used to me being all in and supportive of whatever someone else wanted, and we collectively were also used to me not talking about what I wanted or what I needed, what would be good for me.
Mhm.
No one in our family was used to that. And that's, you know, my fault. But um, I knew that I could trust them with my dreams as well. We're a very loving family. And all the years of support that I showed other people, it was there for me when I said, I really want to pursue something that makes me happy.
Mhm.
And so, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're not alone, Kyra. I think a lot of women find themselves in that same boat of everything's okay.
Yes.
And okay is just okay. And then when you have the courage to speak up and say, there's a part of me that's not okay with this. And there's a part of me that wants more for me. And it's time to put some of that focus on me. It's an uncomfortable conversation, it's an uncomfortable realization, I think, for some women. But I think also the point at which you express that changes everything.
Hmm. Yeah, it's almost like showing yourself a sign of faith, you know? It's I believe, just based on conversations with either clients that I've worked with or just women in general, that that inability, that fear of making someone else uncomfortable, we put that ahead of our lived experience of being uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Just the thought that we might make something inconvenient and uncomfortable for someone, that someone might not like us, that they might think we're selfish. That's enough to keep so many of us quiet, so many of us living in this, gray space of producing in a way that's pleasant to other people. We're not making any waves, we're not making any trouble. Um, but we get stuck there. We get stuck there
Yeah,
for years. Yeah,
yeah.
it's very interesting.
I'm surprised how much it comes up, even among, and maybe I'm especially as surprised when I hear that from strong women.
Mm,
You would think they have, like, they've got the moxie, they've got the energy and the confidence to speak up for what they want. And yet, in our day-to-day comfort zone, maybe that's even harder, where we're just not used to it. And sometimes it is difficult for the people on the other side, and it's typically the family, to hear, I'm
yeah,
not satisfied and I
right.
want more, and it's time for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. But those things you just said, they do not equal I'm not grateful for what I have. That's very,
100%.
so I think it can get interpreted that way sometimes
Hmm.
by us and by other people. But
Hmm.
wanting more does not mean that you are not grateful for what you have, that you don't love the people in your life, that you're not finding some satisfaction in some of the things that you're doing or in relationships.
Hmm.
Uh, so it's interesting, and we have to. That's what I love about spaces like your community and the work that I do. We need places where we can come together,
Hmm.
either with one person or in small groups, and support each other's dreams. It's not outlandish. It's not. It's it's really not. We as humans, we don't stop dreaming because we grow up. We don't. We don't stop having goals because we have a role in a company or because we get married or have children or move to that house that we've been dreaming for. It doesn't mean things stop then. We are allowed to dream bigger dreams. It doesn't make us greedy or selfish. It's human. It's human to continue to evolve. I hope for the rest of my life that I continue to have dreams and want to know more, to learn, to explore, to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think in the community of women, we see this for each other and
Mm,
we support each other and say, absolutely, you deserve this. You should speak up. You deserve to live a full life in whatever way that means. And it can be a both and sometimes it's a pivot, it's something different. But I women are so good at having each other's backs and
mhm.
saying, speak up, I got you. yes, that's you deserve this. And I think it normalizes too when we have these honest conversations with each other that these doubts go through our head and people feel like, oh, I'm the only one, and you realize you're not alone. Even the most successful, strong women have self-doubt, have become complacent in parts of their lives, that
Mm,
it's time for them to speak up, and the sisterhood's going to tell them to go for it.
yeah. Yeah.
The,
I love it. I love it. But I think we have to also acknowledge that while we can generalize, there are many spaces where women's dreams are not supported, where women are not encouraged,
Mhm.
even in spaces that have other women.
Yeah.
Um, and that's more about the other people's burdens, whatever they're carrying and their limited
Hmm.
way of thinking. When you are allowing yourself to dream and even thinking about taking actions to make those dreams come true, I believe you have to be intentional with who you spend time with, where you spend time, and how you cultivate those dreams.
Hmm.
And that means intentionally finding, seeking out communities and allies and people that will help you move forward with those dreams. The same way you would if you wanted to learn a new skill.
Hmm.
You want to learn needlepoint, you want to learn painting, embodied dance, you find communities that support that. I think that the path is the same for dreaming, for upskilling your
Hmm.
life.
Hmm.
It's there are communities that are lovely, super nice people,
Right.
but they may not be the best communities to help you advance the things that you are reaching for.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. That really calls for being in touch with what's important to you, what your values are, where you're headed, and are you surrounding yourself with the people who are going to help you get there, who bring out the best in you, who help you rise up. And I think it is on all of us to be really selective
yes.
about where we spend our time, because our time is precious. And if we are in community with people that aren't lifting us up and aren't helping us find joy and spread joy and support each other, then we're in the wrong group. And it's time to find a new group.
I agree. I agree. Um, I would also say, maybe one step before that is giving yourself, because we were talking about having a little bit of alone time. You and I were talking before you began recording. Um, I think something that's important that women don't always do either is to give themselves time and space and sometimes quiet to listen to what they want themselves, to listen to it, to hear it, to explore, to allow themselves to really feel into what they are longing for, what they need, what they want. What are their values now, right? What does an aligned look like life look like now? Because
Mhm.
it's different than 10 years ago or 20 years ago, So that's something I think when we give ourselves a little space to clarify what it is that we actually want, we can really be more intentional with the spaces that we seek out,
Mhm.
that the people that we allow in.
Right.
Um, and if you're not clear on what's meaningful for you now, what your values are now, I think it's easy to end up sometimes in communities that are not supportive
Mhm.
or maybe in friendships that lingered too long past the point of being lovely and helpful towards each
Mhm.
other. So that's something I think is important as well. Just time and space for yourself.
Mhm. And making time for
Mm.
yourself is a challenge for many women to
Hmm.
carve out and prioritize the time that they need just to be with themselves. I think you're spot on about needing to listen and really pay attention to to the thoughts, to the feelings, to the gut that we're, I think for a long time, people are uh, just accustomed to dismissing,
Yes.
because that doesn't keep me moving forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Toxic productivity, toxic productivity.
Yeah.
Your value is what you produce. So that
Yep.
means you have to keep on it. And if you're not producing, you have no value. Well,
Right.
that's not the truth. And the more that women like you and I,
Hmm.
continue to pursue our dreams and invite other women into spaces where they can do the same, we're like those little the little dandelion blooms,
Yeah.
we evolve and we grow and we change. Um, and then we spread that and we go out and we do it some more. I think that it takes women knowing that other women are out there living their dreams, pursuing things that make them happy. Um, it's encouraging, right? To show vulnerability, to talk about being uncomfortable but doing it anyway.
Hmm.
Those are the stories that I think help other women go live their dreams.
100%. And I think when you hear those stories, like you stand up a little taller, like you leave the room with a little bit more moxie.
That's right.
So I am curious, Kyra, what skills, what experiences did you leverage once you decided to make this move and go into a heart-centered next chapter that was really calling for you? What did you draw on to help you make that pivot?
I have always had a really, I would say, natural ability. I don't know if it's a skill, but it's an ability to hold and create space for people. It was something that I downplayed when I was younger because there wasn't really a way to attach a monetary value to it. And I think a lot of professional people in general recognize that. You can be really good at something, innately good at it. But if you can't figure out a way to like attach the cost or the price or the
Mm,
value of it, you dismiss it. Well, for me, in my role as a wife, as a mother, as a CEO, that was something that I had always done naturally. It feels good for me to create spaces that both physically and emotional spaces where people can, or energetic spaces where people can evolve, where they can grow, where they can collaborate. And that was something that I brought with me into the coaching. The very first program that I developed and offered was a Sacred Women's Circle. Totally different than my corporate work, but it was something that had drawn me. Um, and again, I was able to use a skill that was valuable to me, that meant something to me that I never talked about in my corporate work. I'm an excellent planner. I'm great with logistics. So there were some of those technical skills that worked as well. But the ones that I believe I gained the most value from were the ones that were quiet and undervalued in a corporate setting,
mm,
such as space making, space holding, wayfinding. I don't need a manual. I'm going to figure this out. Let us have a conversation together. Sit with me. Tell me what you're dreaming for. Tell me where you've been. Tell me the life that you would love to have. What can't you say in a room full of other people? Tell me. We're going to make this happen. Those are the soft skills that we undervalue that maybe don't even have, you're not going to find them in a handbook for any company.
mm.
You're just not. But
Yeah.
there's skills that I value and my clients value and that I get to use every day that make my heart full. And those are the ones that I really lean into, that I like to talk about because I believe in me sharing, it's an invitation for other women to um, look at themselves and be proud of things about themselves that maybe nobody else notices, but they notice. They know that that's something special about them that they don't
Mhm.
get to talk about or
Yeah.
leverage openly.
Mhm. What wisdom or lessons learned would you like to share to with the listener who might be kind of facing their own pivot or struggling or trying to figure out what's next?
Hmm. Well, I think you do not need a tragedy to change directions in life. I would like to say that you do not need a horrific accident to to change directions. I think wisdom wise, one of the easiest, best things that you can do is to choose one small step. What's the smallest thing that you can do toward and in the direction of the thing that you want? What is the smallest step you can take? Is it giving yourself 10 minutes to really dream on it? Is it writing it out? Is it putting a number on it? Like, what would it take for me to be able to do this? There is something that you can do versus just sitting and saying,
Mhm.
I wish, or thinking it's too late. I will tell you, it's never too late. It's never too late. What is the one thing you can do? What is the one thing? Um, and
Yeah.
really pick I feel like if you can't find the thing in you, the spark to get you to that first little step, if you envisioned your life as a movie, little snippet, an intro, and somebody else was watching you for 2 or 3 days, what would they see you doing?
Mm.
What would they see you doing over the course of 2 or 3 days? Would any of that be an indication of who you really are or the things you are dreaming big for?
Mm.
If they watched you for 2 or 3 days, would they have any idea of who you really were inside, what your dreams were? I will tell you, if they watched me for a day, they would know. They would
Yeah.
know. 10 years ago, they wouldn't have known.
Wow. One
So,
s- one small step.
one tiny thing
Yeah. That's doable.
that's
That's so
doable.
doable.
Because what's doable for me may be different for someone else.
Right.
But what's doable for you? One small step.
Well, Kyra, I want to thank you so much for having this conversation, sharing your story and your wisdom, and giving women hope and inspiration for their own pivots. So thank you so much. For the mavens in the room, stay on the line. We will continue with the Q&A with Kyra, and we look forward to seeing you on the other side.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you.